If you're lucky, you're raised in a household where that is socially conscientious in some way, as you're coming up, where thinking about other people is something that you're taught is an important thing to do. I think that's when it starts. But it doesn't mean that it can't be taught later. I personally, in my own experience, if I have somebody who's a psychopath, which is narcissism coupled with flagrant incapacity to connect with another human being. When you have that degree of pathology, you cannot teach empathy because that switch isn't in their brain. It's just not there for whatever reason. Most people don't fall into that domain though. And I think it's just like if you've got a teenage kid who is self-absorbed and has a closet full of clothes and wants to drive the fancy car, and the parents decide for spring break, instead of going to Florida, we're taking you on a mission trip somewhere, and open your eyes to what does the rest of the world look like, and can you grasp or appreciate your circumstances. I think that kind of thing can have a dramatic impact on someone's life, and people can have those kinds of dramatic impacts as long as they're open to it. They're open to and have the capacity to have self-reflection. People can do that. Sometimes people don't reflect until they get caught, like Dreyer, who had very shallow self-reflection, frankly. Other people like Bud get caught and immediately look inward and say, my God, how did I get here? How did I end up in this spot?
It took too long. But on that one point about empathy, and I used the term before, collateral damage, you know, you're not really describing this person. It took a while for me to realize that we had done something very bad to Dr. Lewis Fielding personally, as a person. And it wasn't until I got out of prison and had really reflected on what had happened and my responsibility for it that I felt I have to go see him and apologize to him. I mean, you can go through all the legal process. You know, you can plead guilty, you can say, I don't want a pardon, you can go to prison, you can do all that. But that doesn't complete it until you've gone and say, I did this to you. I authorized this break-in, and we went into your office and stripped you of your privacy. And I'm sorry we did that. Now, why did it take that long? Well, I was in that cocoon for a while, not even using the words that would prompt empathy. I don't know if that helps, but your question is, can you be taught it? In advance, yes. I think that's one thing that would be very helpful in a legal educational program, so that you have some sense of the effects of your judgments.
I actually have a legal education answer to the question. You know, if you think about self-reflection and you think about empathy, the law school where I teach does a lot in alternative dispute resolution. And if you think about what a lawyer goes through in attempting to learn negotiation skills and how to be an effective mediator and getting in touch with the interests of the people you're working with and trying to identify what's really at stake and putting yourself in their shoes, those classes are really very much along the lines of attempting at least to have you open yourself up to what the experience is for others in the room.
I think we have a question in the back, but before we get to that, I do want to follow up on the questioner did want